A very good evening to all my fellow little human beings out there. Guess what? We are going to start off a new chapter. What is it? It is human reproduction. So when I was in school, no, this particular chapter was not taught that nicely, and I used to mug up all the important terms of their seminiferous tubules, this or that and everything. Why? Maybe because there is too much taboo around it, too much shyness around it. But do you think that should be the case over here? No, there should not be any taboo, because we are going to study about our human body. You should be knowing about your body, right? So there should not be any shyness, but always remember there should be respect, okay? So I am going to make this class really fun and interesting for you guys, and you just have to promise me one thing, that is to work really hard. Okay, will you promise that? If you are promising that, put it down in the comment section. I want to see all these comments as well, apart from the homework. So I want you to talk to me. I want you to say, yes ma'am, we listen to you. We are going to work really hard. Okay, and do not forget to click on the like button if you think that this particular video has helped you. Okay, so my dear children, I have segregated this chapter into 4 parts again. So 3 parts would be theory, 1 part will be the PYQ question. So I make sure in every part that I do, I make you solve some questions as well. So I'll be doing that here also. So today I'm going to discuss in detail about the male and the female reproductive system. What in that? In the male reproductive system, the primary sex organ, accessory ducts, the glands, genital organs, structure of the sperm and everything. And in the female reproductive system also the same thing, sex organs, the accessory ducts, the glands and the external genitalia. I know the terms are a little bit quirky, but I am going to make things really easy for you. And my dear children, over here we are gonna solve certain questions as well. And ma'am, what is the importance? If I listen to your video, what will I get? You will get 3 marks in KCET and you will get 11 marks in your PU2. That is the importance of this particular video. And is that a small deal? No, not at all. Okay, so you have to be with me. And if you want the notes, you can join our WhatsApp channel. You will get the notes over there. And my dear children, before starting off, I want you to know that my wish is that I could see few of you over here, okay, in the toppers list. You know what, these children have worked really hard. We have worked hard, but they have worked harder more than us. Why? Because they had that strong determination and that will, and I am expecting the same from you, and I'm pretty sure you are like that. Okay, so do not break my trust over there. Just work really hard and be with me through the entire session. We are gonna begin the male reproductive system. So my dear children, when you say a system is made up of multiple organs out there. Okay, and the first organ that we are gonna cover is the testis. Why? Because this guy is the primary sex organ, the king of the male reproductive system. Why do you call it primary sex organ? Because it has 2 major functions. One function is to form the sperm. What are sperms, ma'am? Those are gametes, children. Those are gametes. And what are gametes? So there is male gamete, there is female gamete. Both of them come together, fuses, you get the zygote. The zygote divides to form the embryo divides to form the fetus, and the fetus comes out, and that is us, right? So basically the function of the testis is to help in the formation of sperm, and apart from that, it also helps in the production of the male sex hormones. Why, ma'am? Why do we need male sex hormones? For the production of sperms and also for giving sexual secondary characteristics to the males. For example, the hair, the pubic hair, this hair, that hair, the face, the voice and everything. These are the secondary sexual characteristics. So to give all this thing and also to help in the formation of sperm, you have the male sex hormones. All the male sex hormones together, A, B, C, D, together we call them as what? Androgens. What do we call it? Androgens, my dear children. You might have heard about one famous male sex hormone, and that is testosterone. Okay, so this is the primary function of testis, which is why this is the primary sex organ as well. But we have to learn more about it. Where do they make the sperm? Where do they make the sex hormones? All of this thing. So are we ready for that? Let's get into the topic. So over here, we are going to talk about the scrotum and the testis. Both of them are best friends. I'll tell you why. So basically, I have to make a guy over here. This guy's name is Pappu. Okay, so Pappu, my dear children, is my dearest friend. Okay, and over here, Pappu have different region in his body. This region which is there, which is basically below the abdomen. So you say that if at all this is your heart and everything like that, the place where your heart ends, there begins abdominal cavity. What cavity? Abdominal cavity. Now the lower part of the abdominal cavity, you have a specific name for it, and that is the pelvic region. The pelvic region. And in this pelvic region, what do you have? Do you have the testis? No. In the pelvic region, you have the male reproductive system as a whole thing. But it's within our body. Okay. And the testis says that I actually have the function of forming the sperm, and I cannot form the sperm if I am inside the human body. The scrotum asks, why? Then the testis says that I cannot form the sperms if the temperature is this much high. I need at least 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower temperature than the normal human body. So the scrotum says that it's okay, it's totally fine. I am going to form a sac-like structure, and within that you can be in there, but it is totally going to be outside the body as well. Will that work? The testis says, yes, I am totally happy, I am going to make the sperms. So my dear children, this is the whole theory. The scrotum is there. What is scrotum? Scrotum is a sac. So this thing that you see, this is a scrotum. Okay, and within the scrotum, what do you have? You have the testis. Why can't it be inside the body? Because testis is a place where the hormones are being produced, where the the sperms are being produced, and they need 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than the normal body temperature, lower, okay, now lower than the normal body temperature. So there is a place over here through which the testis can be moving in and moving out as well. So during the colder times, it will be moving up a bit, it will be shrinking, the scrotum will be shrinking and will be moving up, things like that happens in the case of male body. Okay, now if we talk about that shape of the testis, it is ovular in shape, my dear children. It is oval shaped, and if you talk about the length, it is 4 to 5 centimeter long. Okay, it is what? 4 to 5 centimeter long. What about the width? Width is around 2 to 3 centimeter. So 4 to 5 and 2 to 3. So you can remember 2, 3, 4, 5. So instead of writing like this, I will write like this. So it will be easy for you. 2, 3 and 4, 5. So this is the width, this is the length. You have to remember all these small details. It is very much important. Now it is covered by a dense covering. So obviously the testis would be having dense covering around it, my dear children. And if you see within the testis, now it's time to go within the testis. It will be having different lobes out there. You know what? How many lobes are there? If you know, you can comment it down. If you're seeing, that is also totally fine. So there are almost 250 testicular lobules. Inside the testis, you have lobules, so you call them testicular lobules. How many? 250 of them. And within this 250, each of the testicular lobules, you have one more thing, that is seminiferous tubule. What is it? It is seminiferous tubule. So basically, testicular lobules, TL, team lead. Okay, team lead is there. Under the team lead, you have so many STs. Okay, you have so many seminiferous tubules. How many? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We say no, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. You can remember like that. So 1, 2, 3 seminiferous tubules are there, and it is within the testicular lobules. Got it? And the testis has a covering. So basically we studied everything about the testis. Where is it located? In the pelvic region. Okay. And it is within the scrotal sac or the scrotum. Why? Because it needs 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than the normal body temperature for the process of formation of sperms, which you call as spermatogenesis. Genesis means formation. Okay, so spermatogenesis means sperm formation. Now, my dear children, if we talk about the testis, the structure of it is ovular in shape. 2 to 3 is the width, 4 to 5 is the length. It has a dense covering. It has 250 team leads or testicular lobules are there. Inside this testicular lobules, my dear children, 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules are also there. Got it? Now, we are gonna go ahead. So, sneak peek into the testis. So, I told you there is testicular lobules. I can make a line like this. So, this is one testicular lobule, and I told you it can be 1, 2, 3 seminiferous tubules within that. So this is a seminiferous tubule, this is also seminiferous tubule. The yellow part that you see is the space between these seminiferous tubules. So if you want to have an idea, I can make it better. So over here, see, this is the lobule that you have. Inside that you have the seminiferous tubules. So I have made it that over here. So this thing that you see is this thing that you see is this, and the space is right over here. Got it? Now over here you have few things. So you see green color, orange color, white color things out there. They have something to tell you guys. So I am a Sertoli cell. I nourish the mighty spermatogonia. What is it? Sertoli cell, my dear children, as you can see over here, this guy is doing something. That is what? Nourishing. This guy is nourishing. Nourishing what? The spermatogonia. What are spermatogonia? Spermatogonia are the ones that would be giving rise to the future sperms later on. I already told you testis has two functions. One is to form sperm, the other is to form the hormones. So this is the guy that is going to help in the formation of sperms. Okay, in the formation of sperms. By doing what? By nourishing the spermatogonia. Okay, now going ahead. This guy says, I am spermatogonia, I am the one who undergoes division to form sperms. So the spermatogonia is being nourished by the Sertoli cells so that this can divide and later form the sperms. I hope you got it. Okay, so the one function of testis is being completed. Now both of them, my dear children, if you see, where are both of them? They are within the seminiferous tubule. So within the seminiferous tubules you have two type of cell. One is the Sertoli cell, that you also call it as nurse cell, because they are there for nourishment of the spermatogonia. Okay, which is also known as the sperm mother cell. Sperm mother cell. Why do you call it sperm mother cell? Because it is the one that is going to form sperm later on. Okay, and the spermatogonia is the one that will be dividing to form the sperms. That is being written over here. Seminiferous tubules is lined by spermatogonia, or the male germ cell, or the sperm mother cell, which undergoes meiosis to form sperms. We will study the whole process of spermatogenesis in the next session. Okay. Now, what does Sertoli cell do? They provide nutrition to the germ cell. They provide nutrition to the germ cell, or they provide nutrition to the spermatogonia so that they can divide properly. Okay, either way it works. Now, my dear children, if you see there is one more guy over here. Let's see what he has to say. So basically he says that I have to remove certain things. Okay, he says that I am Leydig cell and I secrete androgens without which even sperms cannot be made. What do you understand from that? So this guy which is there, its name is Leydig cell. Okay, and what does it do? It produces the hormones, and I told you, you need hormones for the formation of sperms. So nourishment is different thing. But apart from that, hormones are the one that would be giving signals, that would be helping in the formation of sperms, and that can only happen if there is someone who can make the the hormones as well, and that is the Leydig cell. So where is the Leydig cell found? Leydig cell is found between the seminiferous tubules, my dear children. You call the space as, you have a separate name for the space. You call the space as interstitial space. Interstitial space, as in space between things. Okay. Now, since it is interstitial space, the cells are also known as interstitial cells. It can be Leydig cells or it can be interstitial cells. So I hope you got it. So interstitial space contains Leydig cells that secretes what? Androgens, the male sex hormones. It also has small blood vessels and immune cells. So always remember, over here this particular region has Leydig cells. Apart from Leydig cells, what do you have? You have blood vessels, and you have what? You have immune cells, as in WBCs. Okay, which will be fighting against all the diseases. So three things is there in over here in the interstitial space. So this is about the testicular lobule, which is there in the testis. Testicular lobules have seminiferous tubules. Yes. Now in the seminiferous tubules, you have two types of cell. One is Sertoli cell, also known as the nurse cell. They are there for the nourishment of the spermatogonia. Okay, they are there for the nourishment of the spermatogonia, which will later form what? Which will later form the sperms. But all of this is not possible without another guy which is there between the seminiferous tubules in the interstitial space, and that is the Leydig cell. Okay, Leydig cell is the one that produces the male sex hormones. Leydig cell are also known as, it is also known as the interstitial cell. Interstitial cell. Okay. Now, I have one question to you, since we are talking about sperm and everything. This is a homework 1 question. In sexual reproduction flowering plants, we studied about haploid, diploid and things like that. Okay, that is, haploid are the one that have half the number of chromosome, diploid are the cells that has the complete number of chromosomes or double set of chromosomes out there. What is the ploidy of a sperm? That is your question. Homework 1 question. Okay, what is the ploidy of a sperm? Let me know if you know the answer. I will be featuring you in the next session. Now, going ahead, we spoke about the testis and everything out there, you know, all the structure of it. Now we are going ahead with the ones that would be carrying these sperms, the transporters, okay, the vehicles out there. You call them male accessory ducts. So these ducts are the one that will be carrying the sperms and everything out there, and you have so many of them. Let's see. So over here you see the names rated testis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens and all of it, and I know it might be kind of confusing for you guys. So I am going to make things easy for you right now. So over here, my dear children, if you see the external genital organ, that is the penis, okay, it is there. On either side of it you have the testis. Testis is where everything is happening. Now from here to the penis you have to, okay, you have to transport the sperms, right? So there should be someone responsible for that, and that is what we are going to talk about now. So I am going to take this picture and I am going to help you understand what are the ducts involved over here. So are we ready? Let's see. So first of all, I will make a diagram by myself. So here, where is it? This is your testis. This is the testicular lobule that you are having. Agreed? Inside that you have the seminiferous tubule. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, basically what happens? They all will come out. Okay. They will come out like this. This is known as tubuli recti. Do you have to study this? No, it's fine. It's not there in your NCERT. But they come together to form a duct sort of thing, which looks like a mesh. It looks like a mesh. Okay. This particular thing is mentioned in your NCERT. And what is this thing? This is rete testis. Rete testis, my dear children. Okay. Now going ahead. Rete testis has this, whatever sperms are being produced over here, they are taken through tubuli recti to what? The rete testis. Now rete testis says that, oh my God, I cannot be within the testis, I have to go. So my dear children, now comes the next duct which is going to take things outside the testis. And what is it? It is known as vasa efferentia. What do you call it? Vasa efferentia, E for exit. It helps in exit of sperms. But then what happens? There's a twist that happens. Okay, the body says that hey, you cannot go anywhere, you have to stay here. So basically the sperms are stored in the next duct for some time. And what is the name of this next duct that we have? It is known as epididymis. What do you call it? Epididymis. So first sperms being formed over here, goes to the rete testis, then to vasa efferentia, takes an exit, tries to take an exit, but then gets stuck in epididymis. You know what? If you prolong this epididymis, it is almost around 6 meters long. Okay. Now the epididymis is there. This is the third thing. From here, the sperm, basically here the sperms are stored. Later on, these sperms are taken to the above part of the body. Remember, it's all happening in the testis, which is outside the body, right? So you have to take all of this towards the upper part of the body. Okay. And who takes that? It is vas deferens. Always remember, the one who takes them to distance, it is vas deferens. You also call it vasa deferentia. Either way. So this is the fourth accessory duct out there. Okay. Now we have brought it over here. I hope this particular thing is clear to you guys. Okay. Now I have to make certain changes over here. So basically, again a testis. Okay, just a second. Again a testis, and over here you have got epididymis. From here comes the vas deferens. Similarly, you have a testis on this side also, epididymis over here also. From here also comes the vas deferens. Now, listen to me carefully. So, basically in the case of men, there is only one opening for the transport of semen, that is sperm plus all the other fluids, and also the urine out there. So, basically what happens is that you would have a urinary bladder right over here. So, there is a urinary bladder, my dear children, which has its opening somewhere over here. Okay, and this urinary bladder opening goes like this, and this is surrounded by certain tissues and everything out there, and this whole structure becomes the external genital organ. But how does this and this link? That is the question. So, here comes the twist. The twist is that this guy comes in forward, agreed? Okay, from here you will get secretion of a gland. You will get secretion of a gland, and both of them together form a duct sort of thing here. Both of them together form a duct sort of thing here, which is known as ejaculatory duct. This ejaculatory duct is the one that will be opening into the urethra. This is the urethra, urinary bladder, and the urethra is there. So, this is the one that will be opening into the urethra. I hope you got it. So, you had the vas deferens which was carrying the sperm. It saw that one gland wants to become friends with it, so it combines together to form the ejaculatory duct. This ejaculatory duct will be now opening into what? The urethra, which starts from here and goes until here at the tip. Okay. So, basically you had all these guys, rete testis, you had epididymis, sorry, you have vasa efferentia, epididymis, and then you had vas deferens, and then, my dear children, over here it gets combined with a gland, later forms ejaculatory duct, and then opens into urethra. The tip of the urethra from which the urine and the sperm it passes through, it is known as the urethral meatus. What do you call it? Urethral meatus. Now, what are these glands? So, these glands are the one that is there for the nourishment of sperms. So, the one that was nourishing sperms is still here. You still need nourishment, right? So, there are certain glands which are going to help in nourishment, which are going to help in production of certain ions and this and that. So, these glands are known as accessory glands, about which we are going to study soon. As of now, I don't want to go in that much detail. Wait for now. Let's just thorough this particular thing because it is very much important. You would have to remember the flow of all these things. I hope this is clear. So, the urinary bladder, around it comes the vas deferens, and then it goes and forms a common duct over here, ejaculatory duct, which opens into urethra. Done. Now, we will have a quick read of it. Ayyo, where is it? Okay. Rete testis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens are there. Seminiferous tubules open into rete testis open into vasa efferentia, then into epididymis, which stores the sperm. From the epididymis, things goes to vas deferens, loops over the urinary bladder, right? It loops over, as you can see over here, it comes like this, like we put shawl, right? Similarly, it comes like this. Now, it joins the seminal vesicle duct. What is seminal vesicle? The gland I was talking about. These are the glands which is there. They form together to form the ejaculatory duct, and it opens into the urethra. Where does the urethra start? Urethra, where is it? Starts from the urinary bladder. Suppose this is the urinary bladder. This is where the urethra will be starting and ends at the urethral meatus, that is at the tip of the penis out there. Okay. Now, function is that to store and transport sperm from the testis to outside. What is the function of the male accessory ducts? To store and to transport the sperm outside. That is the function. Now, I know these names might be very difficult for you to learn, which is why I have brought in something, but I might have to remove certain things for making you read that. So, yes, you can read this. Rete sens, okay, rete sens, vasa bends, epi stores, and vas explores. Okay, so rete sens, vasa bends, epi stores, and vas explores. If you want, you can study like this, or Ravi visits every village. So, R V for vasa efferentia, E for epididymis, and V for again vas deferens. But do not be confused within the V's out there. Okay, so you can study in either ways, and if you thought that this was fun, do let me know that as well. Okay, so this is about the accessory ducts out there. Now we have to go ahead and talk about the glands which are involved, my dear children. Okay, the glands which are going to provide nourishment and everything out there. So we have 3 glands again. One is seminal vesicle, the second one is prostate gland, you might have heard about it, yeah, and the third one is bulbourethral gland. This is very much interesting. So listen to me out carefully. This is the vas deferens. It got combined with what guy? It is this seminal vesicle. The first gland which was there, its name is seminal vesicle. Now slowly, my dear children, both of them, I told you, it goes and opens into the urethra. But you know what? It is surrounded by a donut sort of thing. You know, donut has a hole in between, no? So through this particular gland goes the urethra and everything out there. So surrounding the urethra, what do you have? You have a gland which is known as prostate gland. Okay, it is prostate gland. Remember, seminal vesicle is paired. It is paired as in 1, 2. It's a pair. Okay. Similarly, the next gland that you're going to see, bulbourethral gland. If you see over here, they are small bulb-like structure. And you know what? They are also paired. They are also paired. Okay. So these are the 3 glands over here, and bulbourethral glands is right over the penis over here when it starts. So there will be small bulbourethral glands over there. Okay, and now what are the functions of these glands up there? First thing, seminal vesicle. What does it do? Seminal vesicle basically is responsible for production of fructose. Why? Because the sperms, they are all tired after traveling to the vas deferens. They say that, oh my God, I cannot survive. They say, hey, take some fructose. You have to be alive. So fructose is an energy source for the sperms, and who provides it? It is the seminal vesicle. So always remember, this is also very important. Then comes prostate. It says that seminal vesicle gave fructose. I will be giving you calcium and enzymes. Well, this calcium that you see is very much important for the process of fertilization, for the egg and the sperm to fuse and things like that. So calcium is being provided, and also certain enzymes. You call these enzymes as clotting enzymes. You call them as clotting enzymes. Well, these clotting enzymes, my dear children, they are very much important. Why? Because first thing is that when the sperms enters the female body at that particular point of time, so that it does not move back, you have to form a clot. Quick clot, which has to be removed also later on. So the clot is definitely going to be there. So for the formation of it, for the removal of it, all of it, you will be needing enzymes out there, and that is the function of the prostate gland, to give these enzymes. So calcium and enzymes, so clotting enzymes, are being produced by the prostate gland. Now the bulbourethral gland, the chunnu gland over there, it says that what function do you have left? Everything you have done, guys. So it says that hey, you can lubricate, you can help in lubrication process. So basically, for the easy transport of sperm, it will be providing certain fluids that would be lubricating the penis, and also while entry through the female genital tract, at that point also it will be of very much importance. Okay, so you have seminal vesicle, you have prostate gland, and you have bulbourethral gland. The bulbourethral gland, you have another name for it, you also call it Cowper's gland. Okay, and it is the one that lubricates the penis and also help in easy movement of the sperm. Okay, so seminal vesicle, fructose, prostate gland, calcium, and the enzymes. Bulbourethral gland or the Cowper's gland, it lubricates the penis. Both of them over here, they are paired. Okay, but one guy, this is not paired, donut shaped, through which the urethra passes. Okay, done, clear. And now, one very important thing, all the secretions together, you call this as seminal plasma. All the secretions together, you call this as seminal plasma. Now, when the sperms are also in this particular seminal plasma, my dear children, now you will call this whole thing as semen. Okay, so seminal plasma plus sperms give rise to what? The semen. So, because of the secretion, that is the reason why it is slippery, it's white in color and things like that. Cool? Done? Okay. So this is about the male accessory glands. Now what are we left with? So we studied how they are produced, the production house, we studied about that. Then we studied about the vehicles involved for transport. Okay. Then we studied that who is there to welcome them. So all these guys are there to welcome them. And now we are going to see what is that thing that is going to finally transport it outside the body, and that is the external genital organ, which is the penis in the case of males, my dear children. So penis, if we say, it is made up of erectile tissue for insemination. So what do you mean by erectile tissue? First thing, erectile tissue is something that can get erect, can move upright like this. Okay, so it is made up of erectile tissue, which is why it is able to, the penis is able to move, and with this movement only it is able to inseminate. What do you mean by insemination? Basically, it has to, this penis which is there, it has to get inside the female body, and there it has to produce the sperm. Okay, it has to produce the sperm. So this whole process of erection and also the production is known as insemination. Okay, got it? Okay, and when the sperms are moved out of the penis, it is known as ejaculation. That is different. Okay, so basically the penis that you see, it is made up of erectile tissue, and also, my dear children, there is an enlarged portion over here. There will be an enlarged portion over here, and this enlarged portion is known as glans penis. Okay, it is known as glans penis. And also over here, okay, so this particular region also have the covering and everything, but the glans penis has a unique covering which is known as, which is not visible. It is known as, is it visible? No? The foreskin. What do you call it? It is known as the foreskin, which is mentioned over here as well. Remember, it's not towards the entire length, it will be just towards a little length out there, and this foreskin, my dear children, with the help of movement only, the males are basically sexually active. Okay? Okay? Because all the tips and everything is being surrounded by very important nerves and things like that, which makes the person sexually active. So penis is there, that is all about penis. It is made up of erectile tissue. The enlarged portion that you see is known as glans penis, and it has a separate covering which is known as foreskin. So that's about the external genital organ as well. Remember, this particular tube that you see is the urethra itself, which is passing down, and towards the tip, what do you have? You have the urethral meatus. This is the opening. Cool? Done. Now, do you understand this particular picture now after we have studied? Well, if you do not, I can make you understand. So over here you have this is a side view of a guy, okay? So this is a testis, right? And here you have the penis. So basically from the testis the sperms are made, and it goes to the upper part of the body where you have the urinary bladder. It will be coming and joining with the urethra. Along with it, it gets a secretion of the seminal vesicle. Okay, together both of them forms the ejaculatory duct, which is surrounded by this particular gland, which is the prostate gland. And when it comes down, my dear children, again you get a secretion of bulbourethral gland, a paired gland. Now this urethra goes ahead in the penis, which is the external genital organ, and goes out to the opening. Okay, in the back of all this thing you would be having your large intestine and everything out there as well, which is why it opens into anus and rectum and all this thing. Okay, I hope it makes sense. And then you have your kidneys, your urinary bladder connected with your kidneys. So you can have, kidneys are towards the back side. Okay, over here. Yeah, that's all. That sums up everything. So if you understood until this particular point, you have to let me know in the comment section right now, or otherwise how will I understand? So you say, ma'am, I understood what you have taught. Okay, and then I'll get a clarity. Okay, my children are understanding things. Fine. Now we are going ahead with the again. Oh, just a second. So I forgot to, we have one very important thing, the gamete itself, that is the sperm. So shall we talk about this over here or in the next session? I think I will be talking about this in the next session, okay? About the structure of the sperm. Next session when I speak about spermatogenesis, because otherwise this session would be too long and I do not want that to happen. So now we will go ahead with the female reproductive system, my dear children. Okay, and the female reproductive system, again you would have a primary sex organ. What is the function of primary sex organ? To form the gamete and to form the hormones. So here the primary sex organ in the case of females is none other than the ovary. Ovary again has two functions. One is to produce ovum, that is the egg out there, and that is the gamete, the female gamete out there, and also to produce the ovarian hormones. What are the ovarian hormones? Estrogen, progesterone, all of them are the ovarian hormones, which gives the female the secondary sexual characteristics such as the formation of breast and everything. Okay. Now, if we talk about the structure of ovary, I want you to look at this picture and have an understanding before we read what is there in the NCERT. So, if you cut open the ovary like this and you see, my dear children, you will find a yellow region out there, that is the outer region, and inside region is denoted by pink or red in color. Well, this outer region that you see, it is known as cortex. Okay, it is known as cortex, where what is happening, where the egg and everything is being formed properly out there. Okay, where the ovum is being formed, there are so many cycles being involved that has been happening over here. Then you have an inner region which is known as medulla. Okay, what do you call it? Medulla. What is there in the medulla? In the medulla you have the blood vessels, you have the nerves and everything out there. So basically, if you talk about ovary, inside the ovary, the whole structure that you see together, it is known as stroma, and the stroma is divided into outer cortex and also inner medulla. In the cortex, the egg formation takes place. In the medulla, you have the blood vessels and the nerves. Okay. Now the stroma which is there, it is surrounded. Okay, the whole ovary is actually surrounded by an epithelial tissue. What do you call this? You call this germinal epithelium. It's a covering, okay, to provide protection. That is what? Germinal epithelium. Within the germinal epithelium, you have one more layer which is not mentioned in your NCERT. It is known as tunica albuginea. It is made up of dense connective tissue. You know what is the meaning of connective tissue? It is the one that connects things. Okay, so it is made up of dense connective tissue. Again, that is for protection and for transport of things and things like that. Okay, so you have tunica albuginea, and outside that you have the germinal epithelium which forms the border. So if you talk about the ovary, first comes germinal epithelium, then comes tunica albuginea, then comes the cortex, then comes the medulla. Got it? Where is the ovary located? Towards this particular region. Where is it? Again in the lower abdominal region, that is the pelvic region. Okay, in the pelvic region of the females, you would be having the ovary being located. Now the ovary is over here, as you can see. Two ovaries are there. Okay, they are paired structure and they are actually connected to something like this. What is this? This is the uterus. Okay, this is the uterus, where what happens? The baby is being formed in the uterus. So basically, I'll give you a gist of things. So in the ovary, the eggs are being formed. The eggs are being transported via this route to the uterus. From this uterus, my dear children, the baby would be moving out through the cervix and then to this particular region which is known as the vagina. We are going to study about all of them. Do not be worried. Okay. But as of now, the question is, how can this guy be here itself? It does not move around? No. Why? Because they are supported by ligaments. So there are two very important ligaments that you should know. One is this one. Okay, the ovarian ligament that you are having. Okay, and the other one is this one. What is the purpose of this? To keep the whole structure at one place. Okay, so this will be our pelvic wall, our body wall. So it connects our body wall or the and this particular uterus and everything out there. What do you call this ligament as? This ligament is known as the broad ligament. It is known as the broad ligament. So you have one ligament over here connecting the ovary to the uterus and another ligament over here which connects the whole thing to the pelvic wall out there. Apart from this also, there are multiple ligaments out there, but at least this thing you should be knowing. Because in the NCERT it is mentioned that ligament is there. So you should at least know what is there, what is the function of ligament, what do you mean by ligament and everything like that, no? So primary sex organ is what? The ovary, because it produces the ovum and the ovarian hormones. Example, you have estrogen and you have progesterone. Okay, now located on each side of the lower abdomen or the pelvic region, my dear children. Size, if you see, the length is 2 to 4 centimeter. What? It is 2 to 4 centimeter and it is connected to the pelvic wall. Pelvic wall as in the wall of our body. Okay, side wall. Pelvic wall is the wall of the pelvic region, right? So it is connected to the pelvic wall and also to the uterus by ligaments. You studied that, yeah? There is a connection with the pelvic wall and also to the uterus, both of them through some ligaments out there. Now, covered by thin epithelium enclosing the ovarian stroma. So there is thin epithelium, remember thin, not thick. Thin epithelium is there. What do you call it? Germinal epithelium. So it is the protective outermost coat that is there. Okay, and within that what do you have? You have the stroma. The stroma is divided into two zones, outer cortex and inner medulla. So I have made something like this which will be easy for you to understand. Germinal epithelium, the outer thin layer, protective outermost coat. Then you have tunica albuginea, the dense connective tissue, provides structural support and things like that. Okay, and also helps in connection. Now cortex contains follicles and hormones. Follicles are the place where the egg cell is there. So egg is surrounded by follicles around there. Okay, so the site of ovum production and things like that. Medulla, it is core with blood vessels, so it supports the ovarian function for transportation of things. If every part, every body part needs oxygen, things like that. No, who provides it? The blood vessels. So there should be a place for the blood vessels to travel through, and that is medulla. I hope this is clear to you. So this is the primary sex organ in the case of females. Now we are going to talk about the accessory ducts which are involved, the one that would be helping the transportation of the egg, and later on, if not the egg, then the baby outside. Okay, so it will be oviduct. Okay, oviduct and the uterus and the vagina. So oviduct, uterus and the vagina. So the cervix becomes a part of the uterus, which is why it might not be mentioned over here, but just understand it is also there. Okay, so oviducts, uterus and the vagina, these are the accessory ducts about which we are going to talk today. So let's see the first one out there. We have the oviduct. Oviduct is known as fallopian tube as well. What do you call it? Fallopian tube. So this thing that you see is the oviduct, from here to here, from point 1 to point 3. What is it doing? The egg cells are being made over here in the ovary, and it says like, hey, come na, come, I'll transport the egg cell. So it's just like that. It takes all the egg cells and goes where? To here, to this particular region. I'll tell you why. Okay, so basically the length is around 10 to 12 centimeter. It is around 10 to 12 centimeter long, and it is divided into different segments. Okay, so I am going to talk about the segments now. Listen to me carefully. The first segment that we have is infundibulum. Infundibulum. And since it has too much funds around it, eats too much, and it has gained some weight, so it is very big in region. Okay, that is infundibulum. Then comes what do you call a broader region? Okay, you call a broader region, and this broader region is known as ampulla. Okay, it is known as ampulla. Then comes a narrow region which you call as isthmus. Okay, these are the three regions of oviduct. Now infundibula has finger-like projections around it for the collection of ovum, and this finger-like projections are known as fimbriae. Okay, there are certain things, that the characters that you have to remember. Ampulla is broad, isthmus is narrow. So once the egg cell gets into the infundibulum, it's like, wow, I am in a whole new world. But then it goes and stays in the ampulla itself because it is so shy to go outside to the uterus. So then what happens, my dear children? Whenever there is a sexual activity happening, the sperms are being released, the sperms who are not that shy would be coming up in search of the egg cell. And where do they come? To the ampulla. So ampulla is the place where the sperm and the egg cell would be coming together and fertilizing. So fertilization happens in the ampular region. Previously it was said that it happens in the ampular isthmic region, but then NCERT changed to just ampular region. So always remember, the egg would be there. Okay, so this is how it becomes one of the accessory duct in the case of females. So it extends from the ovary, agreed, to the uterus. Parts are infundibulum, which is funnel shaped near the ovary, so it is funnel shaped. Okay, and fimbriae is what? Finger-like projections of the infundibulum itself that collects the ovum. Ampulla is the wider middle part that is there. Isthmus is the narrow part that will connect to the uterus. Done. This is all about the oviduct. You also call it the fallopian tube. Now, going ahead to the next thing, the next accessory duct, which is the uterus. Why do you call it the accessory duct? Because this is where the sperm come in, this is where the baby also, when it forms completely, it will be moving out. So this is a passage which is there, right? You say that it is inverted pear in shape. So how does pear look? Pear looks like this, right? So it is inverted pear, as an ulta, opposite of it. It looks like this. And my dear children, uterus is very specific. It has certain layers, almost 3 layers, which you have to remember. Sorry, The outermost layer of the uterus that you see is known as perimetrium. What do you call it? Periphery. Okay, so perimetrium. Then the innermost layer is known as endometrium. Endometrium means inside, right? So that is the endometrium. In the middle, you have another layer that is known as myometrium. In between the perimetrium and endometrium, you have the myometrium. But why the name myo? So myo term usually comes whenever you're talking about muscles. So this particular layer is made up of muscles. What muscles, ma'am? Smooth muscles. What do you mean by smooth muscles? The name might sound smooth, but they are not actually like that. They do not listen to anyone. They are involuntary in function. For example, you cannot say that, hey, smooth muscle, stop contracting. You cannot do that. It's your brain that gives the function and everything out there. Okay, so smooth muscles are involuntary. Okay, they will be helping in the contraction and relaxation during the baby expulsion under hormonic and nervous control. Okay, so that's not under our control. I hope you know that. So myometrium is made up of muscular layer, which is smooth muscles, my dear children, and it's very important for the process of parturition where the baby goes out. Okay, and endometrium, what is the function of that? It is the glandular layer. What layer? Glandular layer. As it is richly supplied with blood vessels and things like that, it is there for the nourishment of the baby if it forms. Not just with baby, for the nourishment of the embryo when it comes down. So fertilization happens there. Slowly it forms a zygote, right? After fertilization you get the zygote. The zygote will divide and form the embryo, and the embryo comes over here. Okay, and who provides nourishment initially? It is the endometrium that will be providing nourishment initially. Then later on, it is the placenta that will be taking up the job of it. Okay, so you have three layers: peri outside, myo within, and endometrium inside. Okay, please remember that. And there is one unique feature, not unique feature, there is one feature that you have to remember. Small details you have to remember, that is perimetrium is thin in nature. Okay, it is not thick, it is thin in nature, thin outer membrane. Myometrium is thick, smooth muscle layer. Okay, it is thicker, it is made up of smooth muscle, it helps in contraction during the delivery. Endometrium, inner glandular layer, undergoes cyclic changes in the menstrual cycle. This is again a question, which is that particular layer that undergoes cyclic changes? Cyclic changes means basically the endometrium becomes thickened at one particular point of time. So during, every month a female menstruates, yes, a female releases eggs and waits for the sperm to come in. When it happens, my dear children, the body is actually waiting for fertilization to happen, which is why the endometrium, it will get itself thickened. Okay, it will thicken itself. And then when it comes to know that fertilization has not happened, my dear children, the endometrium will be shedding down. It sheds off. So there are cyclic changes. Again and again this change would be coming in every particular cycle out there. Always remember. And also remember one thing, it's not the whole endometrium goes down, there will be a little endometrium still there. You call it basal endometrium. You don't have to study about that, just telling you for your understanding. Okay, for your knowledge. Cool? So, shape, inverted pier, support held by ligaments attached to the pelvic wall. I told you there are broad ligaments which looks like bats' wings and things like that. Yeah. And it opens into vagina through narrow cervix, about which we didn't study. So, let's study that. So, basically over here, if you go ahead, if you see. So this is the uterus, my dear children. This region, okay, this region which you see, it is known as the cervical region. And this space is the cervical canal. So this region is the cervix and this space is known as a cervical canal, and they open into the next thing that is known as the vagina. So during sexual reproduction, my dear children, in the case of males, what happens? The males insert their penis over here, and through this the sperms are released and it goes up. Okay, please understand. So this is the vagina. All of it are parts of what? The accessory ducts. They are all accessory ducts. They help in the transport. Okay. Also remember one thing. The cervical canal and the vaginal canal. Okay. The cervical canal, this canal, and the vaginal canal together form something that is known as the birth canal. It is the birth canal through which the baby is being born. Okay, cervical canal plus the vagina gives the birth canal. It does not include the uterus and everything, just the cervix part. Okay, cervical canal and this part, vaginal part. Then the uterine walls, about which we have already studied. Got it? Now, going ahead with the external genital organ, the female external genital organ, which is the most confusing part. Okay. Why? Because there are so many terms and no clear picture for your explanation. So I am here with a proper picture. Now, My dear children, in the women's body, okay, this region is found towards the lower part, which obviously no one can see, okay. So over here in this particular region, you have certain fleshy folds and things like that, and since it is externally present, it is outside the body, you call this female external genitalia, as in genital organ that will be helping in the process of sexual reproduction. So the first thing that we have is mons pubis. What is mons pubis? So female at the upper part of the body in the pelvic region, my dear children, if you see, so this is the body, suppose. So over here in this particular region, they would be having a fatty cushiony thing with skin and pubic hair, So this is known as mons pubis. Mons pubis is also a part of the external genital organ. Now within it, in the depth like this, in this particular region, you would be having all of this particular thing. Okay, first comes labia majora. Labia majora is known as the fleshy fold surrounding the vaginal opening. So you have two fleshy folds around it. As you can see, this is one fleshy fold and this is another fleshy fold. This is labia majora. It covers majority of the portion. So labia majora. Okay, it looks like the lip, which is why it is known as labia majora. Now going ahead, you have labia minora. What does that mean? Again there will be a flap. Again there will be a flap over here, and that will be known as labia minora. So it is inner paired folds beneath, okay, beneath the labia majora. So within it you have the labia minora, my dear children. Now going ahead, if you see the structure, my dear children, you have two openings. This is the labia minora. You have two openings. One is this opening, which is known as the vaginal opening. Okay, the vaginal opening through which the penis is being entered, and the blood also shuts down during menstruation. Then there is another opening here itself, which is the urethral opening. Urethral opening, as in here is where the urine passes through. In the case of males, you just have one opening for the passage of urine as well as the semen, but over here in the case of females, they are separate. There is vaginal opening and there is urethral opening. Urethral opening originates from the urinary bladder and everything out there, the kidney, the urinary bladder, and then the urethra. Vaginal opening originates from what? The ovary, the uterus, and everything out there. I hope you got it. So within the body, the upper side, my dear children, you have all the organs in the case of females. Okay, I hope you got it. Now, if you go ahead within the vagina, my dear children, vagina usually has a thin membranous layer. Remember, it is what? Thin? It is thin membranous layer, which is partially going to cover the vaginal opening. Okay, and this is known as hymen. This is known as hymen, and hymen can be easily torn. For example, a person who does horse riding, a person who is very active in all the physical activities like exercising or sports activities, there are high chances that the hymen might be torn also. People initially, long back, okay, and some people now also, since they do not have much amount of knowledge about it, think that hymen is a sign of virginity. Okay, think that hymen is a sign of virginity and it only breaks during sexual reproduction. But isn't that a misconception? Yes. Why? Because there are plenty of reasons or plenty of ways how the hymen can still be torn. So people used to believe that, and it's a myth. It's a very, very big myth, and this is a very, very important question as well. Can hymen be considered as a sign of virginity? Answer: no. Why? Because it can be torn because of multiple reasons. Okay. Then it is a thin membrane that is partially going to cover the vaginal opening out there. Now you have something that is known as clitoris. What do you mean by clitoris? So as you can see over here, the labia minora comes together, right, like this. Okay, like this, and it forms a thing in the junction. The junction where two labia minora folds are coming together, you call this thing as clitoris. You find something over here and you call this thing as clitoris, my dear children. And clitoris is a very sensitive structure which is highly surrounded with nervous tissue, which again makes the female sexually active. So clitoris is a small sensitive structure at the junction of the labia minora above what? The urethral opening. So here you have the urethral opening. Above it you would be having the clitoris, which is a small sensitive structure, and all of it together forms the female external genital organ. So first thing, what do you have? You have a fatty cushiony thing that is known as mons pubis. Okay, then if you go below, over here you would have fleshy folds of tissue that is known as labia majora. Within it you have labia minora. Within it you have two openings, one is vaginal opening and the other one is urethral opening. The vagina is surrounded by a thin layer which is known as hymen, which can be torn easily. It's not an indicator of virginity and no one should be bothered about that either way. And then, my dear children, that the junction of two labia minora, you have something that is known as clitoris. It is a small sensitive structure, and with that we complete the female external genital organ as well. Okay, so first thing, primary sex organ is the ovary. Accessory ducts, if we talk about that, it is oviduct, the uterus and the vagina. Okay, and now over here in the external genital organs you have all this thing as well. Done. Now what we have, and I hope now you understand the picture. So this is again a female standing in the sideways position, my dear children. So in the lower region, what do you have? You have the urinary bladder. You have the urinary bladder. And what do you have? Just a second, okay. Okay, so urinary bladder comes in the front position. So the first opening is of urinary bladder. The second opening will be of the vagina, which basically goes to form the uterus and everything out there. And the third opening which is there, it is the anal structure which is there. So there are three openings. Okay, in the case of males, there are two only. Why? Because both of them are combined to form a single opening and the anus is separate. Done. It's easy, no? And one very important thing again I want to tell you is that in the uterus, there is a region like this. You call this uterine fundus. Okay, remember that. It is uterine fundus. People tend to not take care of it, but you have to know that. Cool? Done. Now, the mammary gland out there. The mammary gland is very much important. Okay, it is also a part of the female reproductive system. Why? Because it helps in the nourishment of the baby. It is again very, very easy. So remember, this mammary gland I can divide into few segments out there. So suppose there is a lobe. There are multiple lobes. Okay, around 15 to 20 mammary lobes, okay, within each ovary out there. So this is one lobe, okay, this is just one lobe, and inside this one mammary lobe, what do you have? You would be having mammary alveoli, okay, mammary alveoli. This alveoli would be opening up, okay, into, so I will write alveoli first. This is mammary alveoli on the second position, and it will be opening into tubules. These two tubules, basically they will be forming a duct. Here also they will be forming a duct. So tubules basically come together to form the fourth thing, that is the mammary duct. Now the mammary duct, they will be coming together to form what? A bigger thing that is known as the ampulla. Mammary ampulla, which is on the fifth position. The mammary ampulla of different segments, lobes, everything, my dear children, it will be coming together to form what? The lactiferous duct. That is the sixth thing. The lactiferous duct, and then that will be opening into the nipple. So over here you have a picture by which you can understand things better also if you want. So there will be lobe which is not being mentioned over here. So there are multiple lobes. How many? 15 to 20. Each of the lobe will be having mammary alveoli or alveolus, my dear children. These alveolus will be having separate tubules out there. Okay, mammary tubuli, and then tubuli will be coming together to form what? The duct, as you can see over here, the mammary duct. Okay, the duct, as you can see, all the ducts of this also in the back side. Okay, so many ducts which are there, 1, 2, 3. They all come together to form the ampulla. This is the broader region that is known as ampulla. Ampulla, all of them come together to form the lactiferous duct, which opens into the nipple. So here is the same thing. There is one lobe, there is alveoli, then there is what? Tubuli, and then there is duct, there is ampulla, and there is lactiferous duct again. So over here, I remembered it like this. Dal fell on mat. So mat is mammary lobes, okay, then alveoli, then tubule, then dal, okay, D for duct, then ampulla, and then lactiferous duct. So dal fell on mat. Either way, you can have your own way of remembering things, but that will be very, very important to remember it, okay, in structure wise. So paired structure, that are breast, It is formed of glandular tissue, it's made of glands, right? And also the fat. 15 to 20 mammary lobes are there, and it is made up of clusters of milk secreting alveoli. The milk is stored in the alveolar lumen, the alveoli open into tubules, tubules into duct, and the duct merges to form the ampulla and then later form the lactiferous ducts. Done? That's all. Okay, this is about the mammary glands. Over here it is the ribs are there, okay, and the other portions and everything is being mentioned. Nothing very important that you would have to remember. Everything is being covered here itself. So with that, we officially complete what? The male and the female reproductive system. And I have the first question for you guys, and I want you to participate. And also, if you think that I could explain things to you in a well manner, you understood it well, what do you have to do? You have to click on the like button and you have to tell me in the comment section. Also, if you have any doubts, you have to let me know that as well. So are we ready for solving question? I believe we are. Let's begin. So read the following statements about seminal plasma and choose the correct statement from the given options. What is seminal plasma? Remember, the secretion of all the glands, accessory glands, seminal vesicle, prostate gland and the bulbourethral gland. So you have to tell what is correct, right? So seminal plasma is secreted by seminal vesicles, prostate gland and bulbourethral gland. Is it? Yes, ma'am. Correct. Now, it is rich in sucrose and calcium. Is it? No, ma'am. Why? Because sucrose is not there, ma'am. It is fructose. Fructose is being released by seminal vesicles. Calcium is released by prostate gland. So this is a wrong statement. It contains certain enzymes also, ma'am. Yes. It is the prostate that gives certain enzymes also. So 1 and 3 are correct. So can I say C option is the correct option? Yes. Okay. So here C is the correct one. The next question, match the layers of uterus given in column 1 with the characteristic feature given in column 2 and choose the correct option from the quotes. My dear children, I want you to solve it first. So if you know the answer, you can put it down. 2, answer is this, 3, answer is this, and things like that. Okay. So perimetrium, perimetrium is what? The thin layer, thin outer layer, right? So thick membranous layer, thin membranous layer. I'll go with thin one. Myometrium is what? Myo, muscles, okay. So it is thick layer of smooth muscles. If you have an option of thin layer of smooth muscle, wrong. It is thick layer. Endometrium is what? The glandular layer that we are having. So this 3. So A goes with 4, A goes with 4, I just have one option. Okay, B goes with 1 and C goes with 3, which is why your answer would be B. Okay. Yes. Now the third question. The ovaries are located on each side of the lower abdomen and is connected to the pelvic wall and the uterus by. How is the ovary connected to the uterus and the pelvic wall? Ligaments, tendons, loose connective tissue, dense irregular connective tissue. What is the answer? Now since we have seen the picture and everything, we should be knowing the answer is what? Ligaments. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure you would have confusion with dense connective tissue because you go into the ovary itself. Inside the ovary, you have the dense connective tissue and things like that, no? But yeah. Okay, I hope that confusion is cleared up and you will be able to give the answer. Now, fourth question. A fleshy fold of tissue which extends down from the mons pubis and surrounds the vaginal orifice is known as. The one that will be coming down from mons pubis and would be surrounding the vaginal orifice is known as labia minora, labia majora, clitoris or hymen. What do you call it? The first one probably. So it would be labia majora, but the answer is not given, but I am telling you the answer would be labia majora. Okay, cool, works. Now the homework question which is there. The hymen can be torn by first coitus, sudden fall or jolt, insertion of vaginal tampon. Tampon is something that will basically soak in all the blood which is there. It is used during menstruation. Now, active participation in cycling and horseback riding. You have to give me the answer for this because it is a very important question. I hope you will be doing that. Now, this will be homework 2. Homework 1, I have already given you the question in between the chapters. So, if you are attentive, then only you will be able to answer it. Yes. So, that's all, my dearest little children. And I hope that you have already subscribed, you have already liked, and you are liking our videos. Well, if you have any doubts around it, please put it down in the comment section. We are here to help you out. Wishing you good luck and lots of love and biggest hugs. Bye-bye. Take care.